Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Jared Naidu, and welcome to the Yo, I forgot my own intro. Capital GPT podcast. Today I'm here with Thami Tsehlana. I hope I said that right. I hope I did. But
Like
he
98% accuracy.
90%. Okay, I'll take that.
98,
I'll take
98.
I
Yeah.
should do better because I'm from Durban but yeah, thank you so much for being on the podcast. He basically background wise grew a huge following on TikTok over to 83,000 followers, talking about everything in the financial space, the courses, how to accelerate your career path with courses, and uh, to that extent, he's also done studied UJ engineering, um, and yeah, he's basically killing it online. And yeah, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
I know, I appreciate being invited, man. Like, honestly, genuinely.
Yeah, no, appreciate it, man. I think just to get started, basically, I found you through social media, right? I found you, and I was a fan of your work, and I was like, let me follow, give this guy a follow because I found Forage courses through because background for me, I do digital marketing and I do investing on the side for myself, and it came to a point where I was like, I think I actually like maybe to get into investment banking, so.
Mhm.
I came across your review. I think it was probably a JP Morgan course or Goldman Sachs course, and
Oh,
I was like, "Oh, snap! Is actually a thing that I could simulate jobs." So, like, how did you find that? And yeah, just talk us through that. How did you find that, and like, what made you get into that?
hon- honestly, I'm just gonna give you a bit of a background. I love
Yes.
giving context. I always say the word context in my videos because I feel like context is always
Oh,
important.
it's valid. It's valid.
Um, I started, I decided to want to go into finance for like a lot. Like that story is really long, but I decided to go into finance as of last year. So I decided, let me see if I can find some things relating to it. And I basically put it out there on TikTok. I'm a very big fan of putting myself out there, just like, hey, this is what I'm doing, follow along. And the nice thing about social media is that it's a feedback loop. So you put out information, then it gives you a reply
Yes.
with better information that you probably didn't know. Someone in my comment section actually recommended I go to me, which is one of the courses that I recommended. It's a simulation, live simulation. And then I made a video about that, which did very well, which
Mm,
created another feedback loop for more people. Is this course that I tried, that course that I did. I just got information from different people and then compiled them into a video. Like, this is what I'm trying. You guys can try it as well. And then it just came and built itself up like that. The nice thing about putting yourself out there in a corporate professional sense is that you get replies from people on LinkedIn. And my
right.
LinkedIn has just been blowing up over the last couple of months. Someone DM me, they were like, dude, I do the Forage course. You should try it. And then that same person on a TikTok live came to me and was like, dude, I told you to do this thing. Have you tried it? I'm like, you know what? I haven't tried it, but let me go do the thing. Everything just went like up from there. I found the JP Morgan course. I found the that course simulation.
Yes.
I found the Goldman simulation, Standard Bank one, all these other ones. And then it literally just keeps feedbacking into itself where like information I put out gives me new information and then that just keeps yeah,
Yeah,
you get that idea. Yeah.
absolutely insane.
So yeah.
I think it's like the simulation is so important in regards to like for example, if I said like now I wanted to get into investment banking and then
Mm.
I tried the simulation and I was like, I know absolutely nothing about this. This is nothing fun. Um, and I'm like, okay, I thank God I saw this now before I actually go do a 3-year course before I
Yeah.
actually study this thing. So like I think it's such a need. Where do you see how do you see it benefit you when it comes to looking for jobs, right? Because uh, this channel is for South Africans, young entrepreneurs for young entrepreneurs type of thing. Um, and with us and us as South Africans, where there's a low employment rate, what do you
Mhm.
think the courses does? Do you think companies are looking for people that go through these courses? Have you seen that? Have you seen like the corporates respond and be like, hey, like this is what we look for?
I think it's a okay, so I try to explain this to people. Um, the way you described it is actually the way I try and get people to understand it.
Yes.
They'll think that the simulations or the courses that I put out are like to get jobs, and I'm like, I try to make it very clear in my videos. I'm like, that's not what this is about. It's to give you an idea of what you'll be doing. Everyone thinks they want to be a doctor or an
Yes.
engineer or like a financier. And then they're like, oh, I want to do these things because they see all the highlights of it on like social media, on newspapers, on basically like just out in the world. They see the highlights of it. They see the nice cars, the M4s. They're like, oh, what job do you do? I do this. And then you're like, oh, I also want to do this now because I
Yeah.
see you driving an M4. And then they get into the job and they're like, I am depressed. I hate this, blah, 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 blah. So I try to give like people an idea that like the simulations are to simulate what you would be doing for the next if you work like long term for the next 40 years in this job post graduation. It's like if you enjoy it, then you understand what you're getting yourself into. If you don't, you're like, huh, yeah, maybe this is not for me. I'm gonna look somewhere else. Those are the specific courses that I and simulations that I show to people, but I also tell them that these aren't the only ones, right? Employers aren't necessarily looking for this. It's always a bonus if you know more about the job that you're
Mm.
applying for. So I've reached out to people who work at NetBank and all these other companies. They're like, I mean, it's nice to know that they know what they're getting themselves into, so we know they're serious, right? On top of the things that they studied. So it's like, oh, this guy did all this extra work as well as his course relating to this specific job. But I tell them, if you're going to get a job, yeah, you just need to understand what you're getting yourself into. And if you want a course that will help you to specifically do that job, there are certain websites to get that on. The biggest one is Coursera. Right?
Yeah.
I tell people that go on Coursera. If you get a job, if you get a certification and accreditation from Coursera, that's like the best place to get it from. If you want to become an investment banker, the easiest, not the easiest way to do it, but I think the best way to do it outside of like traditional university is go for your CFA.
Right.
And for CFA, it's like you have to pay for it. And they're like, oh, but I have to pay for it. I'm like, yeah, kind of. I mentioned that, right? These are, the free ones are to give you experience and an understanding. The paid ones are to get you through the door and get you the job. So I tell
Exactly.
you, bet like that.
Yeah, I think you explained it perfectly. I think um yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of people that look for shortcuts. They're like, listen, like I just gotta go and do this. Like I'll fake it through this one course, and then maybe I get a
Yeah.
job. And unfortunately, people do want handouts, but that's not how the world works. You gotta go
Yeah.
through it. You gotta do the courses, simulation. Because I've done the simulation. Like you could fake the simulation, like just
Yeah.
do it. Like I figured it
Yeah,
out.
you can literally you can literally submit whatever and it'll be like, good job. Yeah,
Yeah,
but even for me when I was doing mine, I was like, I can fake this and just make a video about it and be like, oh, guys, I did 50 courses in one weekend. And it's like, oh, that will make for a viral video, of course. It's be like,
like
wow, how do you but at the same time, what did I learn? Nothing. Right.
nothing. Yeah,
But now because I actually went through the course step by step by step, even like Google and stuff and learned,
yeah,
I now know how to do something as simple as a discount, not simple, but something like a discounted cash flow to almost complete accuracy. Right?
yeah,
Whereas most people will just take the thing, submit it, and be like, oh, I got my certification, give me my job. That's
yeah.
how things work.
And then when you get the job, you don't know what you're doing.
Like, oh, oh, okay.
Uh,
Yeah, that's a bit, yeah.
yeah,
But they'll be like, oh, but you said you have experience, Moss. You've been doing this for 2 years. Like,
exactly.
yeah, but I kind of like stretch it through. It's not, yeah.
Yeah. Talk me through the AmplifyMe course. I think I've seen a video where you've done the AmplifyMe course and you were top 10 in that. What was the AmplifyMe course? And did you see any benefit from it? Because I think a lot of people there was hype around it.
I think, okay, so Amplify Me is a live trading simulation that, how can I put it? Okay, so investment banks have different divisions. This is something I learned very quickly and very aggressively. They have different divisions.
Yeah,
One of them is sales and trading, and the other one is it's no the Amplify Me one is basically for sales and trading,
right.
but it teaches you both sides of IB in asset management and investment banking. So you do sell side trading and buy side trading. Right? Um, what it does is that they'll take a bunch of different people. I think the highest that we had at one point was like 140 people in the live simulation. And
Crazy.
then they'll teach you the basics. They'll be like, oh, this is what sell side trading is. This is what asset management does. This is what investment banking does. And then they basically separate the group by half and then put them into a little real-time simulation. It's kind of like, I don't know if you've ever watched what's the show? Billions or
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Industry. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
Billions in Industry. Literally, they put you in that, right? You
Crazy.
get a call, you're on call, you're like you're trying to get uh, different deal pricings for live trading.
Oh, so you on
Always
the flow,
insane.
like the JSC flow, basically.
Yes, like literally, you're on the phone. So you're on the phone with every single person who's like on the simulation with you. So you'll be talking to like 70 different people. They literally list them on there to be like, hey, you can reach out to this person. And then there's news on how a stock is about to trade
Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever. You make an offer or you buy, and it's literally just like extreme
Yeah,
dopamine.
that's sick, man.
And yeah, it's genuinely sick. Like if you ever wanted to know what it's like to be in industry or be in like
I love those
billions,
series, man. Cool.
literally that. Yeah, same, very big fan. Right. So, but it's literally that. I discovered it again through just looking around, talking to people. They recommended it. I did it. First time, my marks were abysmal. They weren't terrible, terrible. For investment banking, I think I got like 54, and then for asset management, I got like 59. But the beauty of it is that you can just repeat the thing as many times as you need to in order to get
Um,
comfortable, right? And AmplifyMe, the UK-based company, they work with all these other investment banks that sponsor them. I think the biggest one is UBS and Morgan Stanley. I
okay.
do stand to be corrected, but I think it's
Thank
those
you.
two, UBS and Morgan Stanley. And they sponsor them. If they get people who do really well, they actually take their names up to UBS and Morgan Stanley, right? To be like,
Eh,
oh, these guys, they did pretty well in the simulation. Check them out. So I did it 1 week, then the following week I did it again, got better marks. I was like, I'm going to do this up until I get a distinction. Third week, way better marks. Like I was like, got I don't remember what the mark was. It was about 80 for asset management, and then pretty good mark for investment banking, which is weird because I'm going to investment banking, but I got like the really good results for asset management. It was like,
yeah. Yeah, I think
yeah,
I think I want to give you a flowers because you've seen that you wanted to move over from engineering to the investment banking space, the trading space or the investing space in general. And you've taken the time and effort to figure out a way to get into that space, and
yeah.
I think we have these ambitions and these ideas to do these different stuff, but then we don't execute on those ideas. So just like big ups
Mhm.
to you because you've actually took like steps towards your goal and your ambition. So I think we'll definitely see you on the floor there soon on maybe Morgan Stanley or something. But I think I love watching your journey. I love seeing you grind out those simulations and courses over the weekends. I think you do lives as well on TikTok just so people
I,
can interact with
I,
you. Yeah,
yeah, I do. I do.
yeah,
I'll occasionally like I don't have a scheduled time for them because of the whole studying thing,
yeah,
right? So I have to balance content creation and studying at the same time. It's a lot of work. But whenever I can and I'm like free, I'll be like, I do like a live Q&A while I'm working. Be like, if you guys have any questions relating to finance or relating to tech, because I have another tech side of my personality, I'll get li I'll do the live and have people just ask me whatever they want. I try to be as much of an open book as possible. So if anyone has any questions, I'll just give them answers. They're all anecdotal answers because it's like from my lived experience, but I also try and be fair and like honest
yeah,
because I feel like that's important. It's always good to like if you want to go to a goal, you get the best honest answers from people, but everyone lives their own lived experience, right? So what their journey was won't be yours. So you try and you like tell them from that perspective. Like this is what I'm going through, but you might go through something worse or even better. Right?
exactly.
So yeah, I try to balance it out as much as I can. But I appreciate the giving me my flowers. I
No,
appreciate
you
it.
should, bro. You should. And I think even documenting it and allowing people to see the real story, like the real grind, like it's not just a
Mm.
1 week, 2 week thing. You got it. It's a process and everything.
Mhm.
Are you currently finishing your degree in engineering or you switched to finance?
No, I'm finishing my engineering degree. One thing about me is that I don't have the muscles required to quit something.
Right.
I wish I did. It would make my life slightly easier in some regards, but I cannot give up on stuff. So I told myself, I'm going to finish my engineering degree, and then from there, I'll figure it out. If I can do my CFA I have to register it.
Yeah.
So I can do my CFA like in Q1 of 2026, in Q1 of 2026. That will be great. But if not, I will try and find a job in the banking sector or
Hmm.
even in the mining sector. Because my ultimate goal is to work in IB, but it's to work in a very specific industry. I want to work in the mining, minerals, and energy sector,
Okay.
right? Because I feel like that's where, in terms of growth, that's where the most money is, right? But I don't just want to be on the mining side. I want to be on the banking side in relation to mining. Because I feel like that area, that like specific niche, not a lot of people are looking at it, not a lot of people are targeting it, but it's there, it exists. And like I feel like in terms of growth trajectory, when I combine my engineering degree and my passion for finance, if I'm in that sector, I can do a lot of really good work. That's my ultimate goal.
Yeah. Have you watched Wall Street?
The movie.
Yeah. Not Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, like,
So Wall Street
oh,
is
The Wolf of Wall Street.
no, not Wolf of
Yeah,
Wall Street. The other one, Wall Street. So Wall Street's with the guy
what's his
from
name?
Transformers, Shia LaBeouf, I think.
Shia
Uh,
LaBeouf. Yeah,
yeah,
and the guy
LaBeouf.
from Ant-Man.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, I've
Uh,
seen it, but I've only seen it in clips. I haven't watched the full thing. I
so
actually want
Wall
to.
Street's a good movie.
Okay.
And basically that guy, investment banking in the space, and then he works very closely with this guy in energy and that type of
Mhm.
stuff. So he's trying to get a bunch of funding for that company specifically, and that's he believes that's going to be a trajectory to take like that company's going to like 10x or whatever. So like having the knowledge, I think you having the knowledge of the space, of the energy space or whatever you learn from engineering, you could take that into like, okay, there's a certain company now that's focusing on energy far greater than anything else, far better than ESCOM, for example. And you're
Mhm.
like, this is the future. And if you could have the knowledge and then you implement it into your investing side and your investment banking side, you could
Mhm.
change the industry, you know. So
Yeah,
yeah, definitely taking outside knowledge and implementing it to your investing, I've seen work really well.
yeah.
Uh, Talking about investing, do you have a personal portfolio that you manage? Are you interested in the crypto space, or are you just
I
learning the ropes?
okay, so I'm a very I try to be a simple guy. I don't like to I do a lot of things already, so I don't like to fill my brain with stuff. I do have a personal portfolio. It's doing okay. Last couple of days have not been fun.
Is that
I think it's
the
because of the
the
whole
the US stocks or is that the South African stock side?
uh mostly US. I like South African stocks. I try to think of them as penny stocks relative to the US ones because they're so cheap, right? So my South African portfolio is doing okay. It's the international one that's a little bit like
Oh yeah, no, but
tricky,
that's
right?
that's because of the wars and Trump and all this. Yeah.
Yeah, that one is doing fine. It's not too big, but I'm okay with it. I'm part of it. And then I have a pretty small crypto portfolio. It's basically made up of like I want to call it the big three. Not sure if it's the big three. It's Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and then I just dollar cost average into all of
Nice.
them, and I'm fine. Right? But the biggest one that I have is my tax-free savings account
Okay, yeah.
in Easy Equities
Nice.
at S&P 500, and then just leave
Just
it,
leave. Yeah, yeah.
forget about it.
No, that's
Yeah.
perfect. I think a lot of people don't really know about that, the tax-free savings side and game
I
changer.
want to. There's a content creator who I know. I have like a lot of respect for him. He's actually the one who got me into investing in the tax-free savings account. His name is Modern Money, right?
Oh yes, I love his
Uh,
content. He's smashing it.
he's he, he's genuinely killing it. I was like, because there's one video that he made, right? Because I already started with my tax-free savings account, but I didn't double down as much as I should have. Where he was like, "Oh, if you invest like 250 every month, and then you max out your TFSA, by the time you're 60, you'll have like 900 or was it 350 million rand or something along those
Yeah.
lines." I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds too good to be true," but like he did the math, and I was like, "Okay, I'm convinced." Then I just started like doubling down in my TFSA for my S&P and Nasdaq 100, but that one is like really small portion.
Yeah.
But yeah, small
That's
portfolio, nothing too crazy.
yeah, that's one of my regrets. I've told my cousin who was younger, when I was like
Mhm.
18 to 20, I should have doubled down more in on like, because for example, if I put 200 rand every month into the S&P 500 for like 5 years,
Mhm.
I probably would have, for 5 to 7 years, 7 years I calculated, you probably came out with like 30, 35K. But if you
Imagine. Yeah.
but if you just normally like if you just put it into a savings account, it would be like 16K. So, it's you don't think about things
Yeah.
like that when you're
Yeah.
young.
I was busy thinking about life orientation and laughing anytime they mention the word sex. And now I'm looking back at that guy. I'm like, you could have been so much better. You could have afforded your car, the car that you
Only
wanted.
you bought
Well,
Bitcoin
not
then,
really.
man.
Like I'm always I'm like, you are busy with like PE. You could have bought Bitcoin. I'm like, "Ah." But like live and learn, like move on, live and then move on.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think there's always an opportunity coming, right? So you have, for example, there was the .com bubble where people took it
Mhm.
and ran with it, failed, whatever. Then, like I think in our time, you get the crypto bubble, uh,
Crypto bubble.
and then you add
NFTs.
the NFT bubble,
Yeah.
and then you
Yeah.
add the meme coin bubble, which then it's either make or break. So I'm staying away from that because I'm like,
Oh yeah, those ones. That I try to. Yeah, I
you tried
don't.
it,
The only the only me. No, the only. Well, I don't want to necessarily say no. The only meme coin I've ever dabbled in, Dogecoin, right?
bro.
But that's because
I was so pro Dogecoin when I first came out. I was
uh,
loving it. And people
I was
like
like
followed
because
me on my personal account like
mhm,
years ago in 2020, I think 2020 21. Um,
mhm,
Dogecoin to the moon, bro. Like, cause
to the
bro, I put like a K or 2K and I doubled my portfolio. I was like, what? And I was like, let's go. And then it just
so
50% down again. And I'm like, ah.
I,
it's-
I get it. Even now, like the thing is, I'm a big fan of memes. Even now, I kind of invested in it as like a meme stock. I don't even put that much. Like genuinely, I'll be like 50 rand every now and then,
Yeah,
right? But that's because I don't. On one hand, I don't see it going like I don't see it having the same utility as something like Ethereum or Bitcoin.
yeah.
But on the other hand, it's like it's funny, and whatever. Like
It's
I don't really lose much. I lose the Spotify subscription. Like, it's the cost of a monthly Spotify subscription. I might as well. So I'll just be like, uh,
yeah.
these,
The,
are-
the, thing-
these
the,
other ones I take seriously, but that one not so much.
the thing is with when it comes to meme stocks or anything in general, it's where people put value, that's where the value is, right? So, like for
Yeah,
example, art. No one's really gonna say the Mona Lisa is a work of art unless everyone is saying that this is
agreed.
priceless. So, if
Yeah,
someone's saying Dogecoin or Shiba is priceless, that price is gonna
yeah,
fly. So, it's
yeah.
how you can sell and market that particular meme stock. That's gonna change the thing. Like for example, if you look at um, what was it? It was AMC and GameStop. I don't know if
Oh,
you GameStop.
the GameStop rush back in 20. Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. So
That was
recently, actually, when Hello Kitty, I don't know if you followed the whole thing or you watched the movie, but Hello Kitty, the guy that boosted GameStop, right?
yeah, I
He
remember.
when he came back recently, like last year, I think it was. And
There
I
was a
saw,
price surge.
sorry.
I think there was a price surge for him. There was a GameStop price surge when he came back online.
Yeah. So GameStop, when he came back, GameStop went up and AMC. So AMC is basically like the movie stuff, like the movie theaters in America. So
But
I
that's
had
flipping cool.
Brookstock at the time. So I knew Brookstock. at the time. So I knew Brookstock at the time. So I knew Brookstock. 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 like basically Brookstock has US stocks, right? So I
Mhm,
basically took 2K out of my own account and I said, let me put it into Brookstock. And I said, let me buy
mhm,
AMC.
mhm,
But my account wasn't leveraged at the time as well. So it was just basic. But if I leverage it would be a different story. So I basically put 2K and I saw they came back and I was like, there's hype. I'm seeing everyone posting on Twitter and like, listen, this thing's to the moon, what. Let me just put 2K.
mhm.
Worst thing, I lose 2K or I lose like a K. But stocks, you never go to zero. So I knew I'm not gonna lose.
No worries.
So as soon as the market opened, I doubled my money and I was like, I'm out. So took
About
it at 4K,
nice.
I'm out. Took it at
Yeah.
4K and I was like, nah, I'm done. Yeah, so
No,
that was a crazy thing. But then
I, I respect your ability to exit positions. Most people that I've noticed, I try to teach, this is like in my personal life, the people who I know who are investing. I don't like talking too much about investments on social media because um, I'm not an investment, a financial advisor or like an investment expert, right? I know a little bit as compared to the larger market, right? But most people that I've noticed, they never know how to exit a position or when to exit a
even me,
position.
to
They'll be
be
like,
honest, like,
"Oh, I've made 5K." I'm like, "Dude, leave. Like,
yeah.
you turn 1,000 into five. Go away, right? No, I can. I think it will go to 10. I'm like, then cashes because
No,
most
even me,
things
I
crash.
struggle with exiting, man. I really struggle
Yeah.
because last year I was big on investing in when
Mhm.
there was uh, what is this? Earnings.
Oh,
So
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
earnings season I was there because I followed this guy, Julian uh, Felicio or something like that on Instagram and YouTube. And he's just killing it. He generally just trades earnings. And it wasn't
Mhm.
leverage, but like I said, let me try leverage because um I have nothing to lose at this point. Like it's not I'm not putting like 10, 20K or 100K into it. I'm putting like hundreds of rands, so 100 to 1,000 rand on each stock if I'm doing it.
Mhm.
So I was just like, let me leverage this thing and see what happens. So like you'll have a stock goes up like 10 to 15%. It goes up 10%. And if I'm leveraging, it's times five. So it's 50%. So if I put 100,
Mhm.
1,000 rand, I made 500 rand. So I was just playing around with that back then. I was like, I actually did decent. But then when it came to like, there was a big market crash. And I was like, oh, my portfolio like skied, bro. Like I doubled my
Yeah.
portfolio. And then like, I think when it was like election time, bro.
When it gets, I remember that because I think the only thing that was green, but I see a lot of the Twitter memes online, from what brand is it? What account is it? Um, it's not Good Morning, Morning Brew, right?
Okay.
I see the Morning Brew memes, right? The only thing that was green back then was Nvidia, and
The
even that
video was
was like
getting me
just a little bit.
so, yo.
Every other stock was decimated. It was I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that day hurt. I had chest pains.
Yeah, I was getting smoked, bro. Imagine me on leverage, bro.
Yeah,
Because when I win,
that
like
was
leverage, it's fine. When I lose,
even big. Yes, I try to avoid leverage based investments because I don't have the stomach for it, honestly. I wish I did, because when you win big, but when you lose, you go to sleep in tears.
oh yeah. Because I think I'm used to because I trade like stocks and futures
Mhm.
and forex and that type of stuff. So I'm like I'm used to like the leverage
Yeah,
aspect. But besides that, I'm like if I'm investing in stocks now, stick to just averaging in your stocks and leave, bro. If you want to do
yeah,
your future trading or like your forex trading, it's fine. But leave that
yeah.
stocks on the one side, no leverage, and grow that. So we basically, I introduced a new segment I did in the last podcast with Andy, and then today we're doing the quick-fire questions, right? So I
Mhm.
really enjoyed this segment. I started last, I mean, I did a podcast yesterday and I posted it today. Uh, and yeah, I think it's a new segment, probably my new segment. So we're
Okay,
gonna go through nine questions, and you basically gonna give me quick answers. Yeah, cool.
I got this. Think fast. No hit. Like I usually overthink, but
Yeah,
I'll
and the thing
try
is
and
not
like
deep, but like it's kind of like Off your head type of answer.
Got it.
Okay. First one, best free course you've ever taken. What's
Amplify me.
Amplify Me? Fine, fine.
Hmm.
TikTok or YouTube? Which platform is the future?
TikTok.
TikTok. Okay.
In terms of longevity, I, in terms of longevity, it's YouTube. But which one is the better platform? It's TikTok.
Yeah. Valid, valid. Crypto in one word.
The future. Oh, one word.
The future's fine. Future's fine.
Um, better,
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 better, better. Cool. China,
better.
China, overrated or underrated?
Underrated. Extremely underrated.
Okay, okay.
Underrated. Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
side hustle everyone should try in 2025.
Um, selling fragrances.
Fragrances. Okay.
Selling, selling fragrances.
Okay, okay. Worst financial advice you see online?
Uh, try multiple side hustles.
That's fair.
That's, yeah.
That's fair. Um, what's your non-negotiable daily habit?
100 push-ups every morning.
Okay, how many is that?
Hmm?
How many push-ups is that?
100 push-ups, 100
100
push-ups every single
a
morning.
day.
100, yeah,
Man,
a
he's
day.
cooking. He's cooking.
Like I have to. The hit of dopamine you get after the last step,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
usually kills
yeah,
you for the
yeah,
day.
yeah. Face, face. And your chest is big, bro.
I try, Chief. Hey, where is my lady going to rest? Where is she going to rest?
Yeah.
Where she put her head after a long day, Chief?
It's a pillow. Uh,
Uh,
next one. Content idea you thought would flop but blew up.
wait, repeat.
A content idea you thought would flop but blew up.
Ugh, that's a bit tricky. Uh, okay. It would be the video I did about like how to protect your iPhone from being stolen, but that one is it's a bit tricky. I'll get into it later, but
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Then let's go rands, dollar, Bitcoin. Which one are you holding long term?
Bitcoin for sure.
Cool. And then last one. If you weren't doing content, what would you be doing?
Sleeping. Genuinely sleeping. I don't, yeah. Otherwise,
Yeah.
oh,
No, that's it for quick fire questions.
yeah,
Yeah, that was fun.
yeah.
Let's just
Like,
sleep.
I'm telling you, because the thing is, right, if I'm not studying, I'm creating content. If I'm not, because I live by, I live by the point of view that in university, you can only be doing one of like two or three things, studying, sleeping, or having a social life, right? You can only do two at a time. You can't, if you do three, you won't be, like, it's not possible to do three,
Yeah.
right? So I decided to switch my sleeping for social media, right? Which kind
Okay.
of like taps into the second one as well, right? So it's studying and social media, which is technically kind of my social life, but you
I
can
don't
only do
think
those two. Otherwise, I'd be sleeping.
it's not
Yeah,
necessarily a social life. I think a social life is like enjoying and like that's how I see a social life.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Going outside, but I don't. Yeah, that one I don't do. Literally, it's just me behind my desk and like giant monitor and laptop and like keyboard,
yeah.
right? But yeah, yeah,
I've seen the CEO of Palantir. He said, I've never seen a successful person have a good social life. Um,
yeah. If I could show you how, if I could show you most of my friends, those guys, you would think that most of them are recluses. They don't go outside, man.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
There's,
but when they show me the bank balance, I'm like, you don't need to go outside. You can bring outside to you. You can afford to
yeah,
bring outside to you. You're fine.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy, man. Um,
Yeah.
I think. let's go back to you talking about China, right? You went to China recently.
Yeah.
I saw your vlogs. You went to China. I think you went from South Africa, Dubai, Hong Kong, China. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Mhm.
What made you go to China, and what was your experience at China like?
The reason why I went is because I went for a competition in industrial design, right?
Yeah,
Which is not something I'm too familiar with. But because of one of my other like projects, I don't necessarily call it a side hustle. I don't necessarily do it for the money. It's like a side project. Um, One of my friends from like 2021, 2021, 2022, he saw what I was doing with the business, what I was doing with the project, and it required me to learn a lot of different skills very quickly. One of them was design, and super into that was industrial design. So I basically did industrial design as a hobby, right? And because of my first year, second semester module, no, first semester module, I had to learn CAD, AutoCAD. Got pretty good at it, got a distinction. I think it's the highest distinction I've ever gotten throughout my
yeah,
entire academic career. I got 98% for it, right? For the semester, wild. And he saw me doing this. He saw I was doing AutoCAD. He saw me doing all these projects. And then fast forward to like end of April, right? He contacts me. He's like, "Dude, do you want to go to China?" I'm like, "Yes." I didn't even ask what it was for. I was like, "Whatever it is, yes, I'll try. Let's go." Then he told me what for industrial design. I'm like, "I can do that." Um, then it literally just went crazy from there. Flight, go to the hotel, participate in the competition. We competed against people from like all over Europe. So like Eastern Europe, yeah, Eastern Europe specifically. So we compete against people from um, Iran, from Turkmenistan, from Uzbekistan, Thailand, all these places, Mongolia, right? And then we all just culminated together in China to compete. I was the only person from Africa who was there,
crazy.
which was super weird. Yeah, super weird, but like really enjoyable. The entire experience was nice. Participated, um, like the you win in tiers. So I won. There were three tiers. I won in second tier, right? So super proud of that. But just the experience of flying, because this was my first time flying out of the country. It was
Yeah, man.
literally like best thing ever. All expense paid trip, uh,
Bless.
5-star hotel, all the nice things. Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's the best thing. I think getting to experience a country or a different like civilization, and then comparing it to South Africa,
Mm,
I think from personal experience, never went outside the country, but going from like Durban to Joburg, then from Durban to Cape Town, like seeing
mhm,
like opening yourself to a whole different way of life, like because not no one does it the same. Joburg doesn't do the same as Durban. Joburg doesn't do the same as Cape Town, and
mhm.
vice versa. So I think when you then go from a country to a different country, it's a whole different level where it's like, oh my gosh, like there's so much of different ideas that you could implement here. That yeah,
The culture shock was extreme. Right? Like I thought, okay, so I see China in like movies and like some social media, right? Like it's a when I tell you the culture shock was a hit. It was basically like being hit by a fire truck very
oh
aggressively. From the moment I landed, everything was like, oh, I'm not in Kansas anymore.
yeah,
Everything was different. Like literally from the moment you exit the airport, it's the air. Like no one talks about. I don't think anyone has talked about how densely humid China is. It's so humid. It's to the point where you literally feel like you're in a different like physical space. Like it's
crazy.
dense. It's really dense. The air is full of water. Um, if you think you've experienced humidity, you're from Durban. Like Durban can get humid.
Yeah, yeah,
You don't know what humid is up until you exit the Hong Kong airport.
crazy.
It's genuinely intense. But then it's the whole thing of like electric cars
Yeah, they're
everywhere,
big on that.
everywhere. It's like they're super big on that. Like, and then the way people drive. Like everyone drives like the taxi driver in South Africa. It's genuinely wild. Like
Mm.
people are pulling into lanes, cutting out of lanes, and then you see things like differently. You're like, oh my goodness, the robots that they use here, right? They have timers on them. Like you don't need to assume
Oh
when
yeah,
they're going to be
yeah,
green. You can literally see like 3, 2, 1. Like oh, in 3 seconds I'm about to like pop off instead of just waiting for the next guy. Right? Um, then you'll realize that oh my goodness, all the robots are like AI integrated. When there's no roads or when there's no cars on one lane, it automatically switches to green so that everyone can just go on this lane.
yeah.
When there's no cars coming this way, all the cars going this way can go. And then we'll like adjust based on the traffic on it. It's insane. Right?
Like
The
future.
culture shock was right. But then there was the whole thing of like languages also. It's like I speak no English. I'm just like ni hao, nanfei. Like I picked up a couple of phrases here and there, but like no one speaks English. They don't care. So it was a huge shock,
You started
but in
in
like a
China,
really good way.
like which city?
Mhm.
Which city in China?
Uh, I've I started in Hong Kong, and then we went to Shenzhen, which is it's like the tech capital. It's the equivalent of going to Cape Town.
Okay,
Yeah, I went to Shenzhen in China. It was wild.
nice, man. Crazy. I'm
Yeah,
so glad you got to experience that, man. I think, like, even just getting all expenses paid is crazy.
like yo,
You don't get these
uh,
opportunities every day, man. I think even like just
no,
thinking back and like our parents would never get that opportunity, man, or like our grandparents, like yeah, like my grandparents didn't even like well, most of them didn't even leave the city, like they just was there. So I
yeah,
think like our generation having opportunities to like go overseas, work with overseas people, definitely broadens our horizons. So yeah, man. Yes, yes.
yeah, it was wild, man. Plus I've never been much of a traveling guy. Obviously, I want to like see the world and all these things, but I've never the furthest I think I've gone is Botswana, right? Like in terms of outside the country, I've been to Swaziland, I've been to Botswana, I've been to Lesotho, Durban a couple of times, right?
2000.
So going from that to be like a different hemisphere and literally opposite side of the planet was just intense. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's created this like physical thing in me now where I want to travel
nice.
so badly, so bad. Like if I don't work for the cars that I want, the house that I want, the life that I want, at the very least I'm going to work to travel places because my goodness,
Yeah,
it's people need to experience that. I really wish more people could like get the opportunity to just fly wherever.
yeah.
Yeah.
From being in, I think I don't know if how long it was in Dubai, but I think it's probably just a layover or just direct, and also being in China. What do you think that you've seen there that South Africa should implement? Yeah,
Dubai one, the layover was a bit intense. But it was very, very fast. The one that was like a little bit more calm was when I was coming back, right? But when we were going, it was literally like, oh, come in and then go straight to your plane. We're loading now. Right? So that one didn't really see much. But I think the big thing, it was just the prices of stuff. The big thing between China and Dubai is like uh money, right? Uh, these things that are expensive. Like obviously, I understand taxes, okay, tariffs, whatever. But it was so weird to see certain things in Dubai where you see them there, and then you come back here and you're like, why in the name of everything that is right in the world is this MacBook Air like 5,000, 6,000 rand more expensive? It makes no sense, right?
hmm,
Or why do they have all this tech here? Like Sony WH-1000 XM6s, like the brand new headphones. They had that in Dubai before it was like really announced everywhere. Uh, like fragrances, chocolates, all these nice things. But that wasn't the duty free, so I don't want to necessarily assume that that's all of Dubai. I really want to visit the country so I can explore it a bit more.
yeah,
But that was just in the airport alone, right? But China, the biggest one for China was infrastructure.
mm,
It was actually I didn't notice it when I was in China. I noticed it when I came back to South Africa. It was like the infrastructure in China is designed to be so insanely efficient that I like you could basically go anywhere in the country and not have issues, you know? So I'll start off here with the roads, right? If you like no like, there's no bumps anywhere, no potholes, no nothing.
Photos.
Ever. There was not a single one. Right? That was the first thing. The second is like again the traffic lights that I mentioned earlier. Everything is basically like automatic. Yeah. And like it's transparent. You can see, hey, in the 3 seconds I need to put my foot on the brake and like accelerate and then pick off. Like third was the electric cars. They're just everywhere. And I I really think that um I don't necessarily know the mechanics. Maybe I'm a bit ignorant in terms of it, but I feel like if electric cars came to South Africa, those things would pop off so well, right? The technology there, the tech there is just so different. Like
Oh,
another
God.
thing is
How we
another
gonna
thing is
survive with?
payments. Huh?
I said, ESCOM, we won't be able to survive with electric cars.
Ah, yeah, like it is what it is. You can't force
Okay.
things, right? But like
Anyway.
that's what I mean by infrastructure. Like everything that just works. Like the fourth one is payments. Yeah? Now, I think South Africa in terms of payments, we actually do pretty well. We have like really efficient payment systems,
Yeah.
EFTs, pay shops, all these things. But there, everything that happens in China all happens through WeWork. Like not no not WeWork. What is
WeChat.
it? WeChat.
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 Yes. I remember WeChat.
Everything. The entire country runs on that one app. Yeah? They have they have translation apps. If you want to pay for something, you just pay for it through WeChat. If you want to order a Uber, yeah, their version of Uber, you literally do it through WeChat. If you have like an integrated application like that, I, I can only imagine the possibilities.
But then again, on the
Um,
other end, with that is that if you get banned on that app, your life is screwed.
you're cooked. You're cooked.
So so
So
that's
it's
the
yeah, I feel like again, South Africa we have a pretty like in terms of financial systems, we're actually very far ahead of like most countries. So that one not so much, but at the same time, it's like it would be interesting to see how this would be implemented in SA. But the sixth and this one is the last one because it's genuinely the most important. Yeah, it's the safety aspect. Yeah, there are cameras everywhere. You cannot. There's no corner you can turn without a camera finding you. Right? And I'm gonna put this. It's gonna be in my next video, my next YouTube video. It's I was walking around with my iPhone, so I record on the 15 Pro Max, right? 15 Pro, and like all my YouTube videos I recorded on here. But I'll never take my phone out at park station
yeah,
or
yeah,
like
yeah,
at
yeah, yeah.
fields. It's never gonna happen. You'll never catch me putting up my phone and be like, hey, man. Like when I was in China, everyone either had like a Xiaomi, like the highest end Xiaomi, the highest end iPhone, or the highest end Samsung. No, there was no poverty, there's no whatever. And when I was recording with like myself, when I was in the mall and when I was outside specifically at night, mind you,
Yeah.
near midnight, I literally got like a physical like wave hit me where I was like, "Am I safe? I feel like I'm. Why do I feel like I'm safe?" It was a weird thing. It was so weird. It was so weird. I had no. I had like I didn't know. My body didn't know how to react. It was like, why do I
Yeah.
feel like I'm not being followed? Like I feel like I should be. I literally had a thing where I don't know if it's trauma, but I was like, I should be followed right now, but no one is here.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's like dark. I have a phone out, and I'm like, if anyone gangs up on me, I'm a victim. I'm an easy victim. I'm like I'm an easy target right now. But I literally, there were cameras everywhere. Even
Yeah.
when we got to customs in Hong Kong, the guy who we were, was assisting us, he's like, so what are you going to do in China? We're going to do this thing. Okay, good. Some people come here to commit crimes. I just want to let you know if that's you, very bad idea. We'll find you. We know exactly where you're going. Because even when you get into Hong Kong, I don't know if you know this, they literally scan your face, get a 3D depth map of your face and your fingerprints immediately when you go into the country. So you're
Yeah.
not committing any crime there without them finding you.
Okay.
They know exactly where you are at like all times. So on one hand, it's like, oh, invasion of privacy. On the other hand, it's like, I have never felt more safe in my entire life.
Yeah.
So it's like the trade-off was, I genuinely feel like the trade-off was worth it. Yeah,
Yeah,
those are the big things.
insane,
Numbers, man. Oh,
insane. I think it depends what you value as a country, right? They value more safety and that type of stuff than the privacy.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think, but you asked me like in terms of SA. I feel like SA really needs something. Like there's too many problems here that could be solved with really good security. Right? Like it's why we can't have nice things. No one feels safe with their nice things out.
okay.
Right? Imagine all the vloggers and the content creators we'd get if no one was scared to pull out their iPhone in Park Station, right? Or Hillbrow, or like I don't want to I'm gonna call out my city, but I don't want to call out like places in Durban. But like Khayelitsha, for instance, imagine if people were comfortable
No
enough to pull
chance.
out their phones there,
No chance.
right? You can't do that.
not even getting your Uber in Kalisha.
You understand what I mean, right? And it's all because of security. But China is huge, but they can
Yeah,
afford to have all these this broad security network. I'm pretty sure throughout the entire country. And we are like way smaller than they are. I don't like in terms of like size, we're like so it was weird.
yeah,
It was genuinely weird.
crazy, man. I think
Yeah.
what do you think? What do you think South Africa needs to grow economically? Like I know, like you said, there's so much of problems, but if you were in charge of South Africa for a day, what would you change?
The first thing is I'd fire everyone in parliament. I'm not even kidding. Like I like
Elon
I've I've
Musk.
I've I've considered this. Yeah, actually, I've considered this thought experiment for a while now. I'd be like,
Yeah.
my first step is to fire everyone. Because look, okay, look, I won't necessarily say I'm a patriot, but I'm very pragmatic and practical. If I see something is not working, I'll just be like, okay, on to the next, right? And one of the guys I was having a conversation with in my class, I won't mention him, but like he's really brilliant. He was like, he brought up a very good point um, that most people are ignoring. Most of the guys we have in parliament are technically criminals.
Yeah.
Technically, like even though it was apartheid, right?
Yes.
They literally are terrorists that we hired, and we're like,
Yeah.
you guys. Yeah. But I'm gonna make a comparison with China because I actually learned the dynamics of how they get elected there. They don't necessarily hold elections, right? Um, because the requirement for you to be in parliament is that you had to have done the job for like extremely long term. You literally start out in like a really small province or even a village, and you have
Mm.
to manage that for the specific position that you're working towards. So if you
Yeah.
want to be in education, you have to start like your process of education in like a village and then scale up until you get to like the government. You
Mm.
can't just um, be Minister of Defense today, then Home Affairs tomorrow, like or the home
Yeah,
education
so
today,
let's
and
go
then
education to
defense tomorrow.
military, bro. Aye, bro.
Yeah, you can't be like and again you have that aspect of it where these people are like, I don't care what anyone says, they are grossly underqualified. I mean, there's certain people who are doing quite a like genuinely I'll give them their flowers about Katie McKenzie, they're doing a good job,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But there's certain people are they're heavily under how do you go from like education or higher education to defense? It makes no sense. Maybe again I am ignorant and I don't know how this system works, but I at least feel
yeah.
like I'm not ignorant enough to understand that this is an insane jump. Not even a military. You can't even pull a military general. You pull him, it makes no sense. Right? And then the other thing is like they are genuinely former criminals. Again, I understand the dynamics. It was apartheid. It was like it was. It's like you can make an exception, but hire people who are qualified for the job that you want them to do.
Yeah.
Or the very least, get contractors. I don't think that, like our economic partners will have issues with like guiding us in terms of how to grow the country. So our partners in the UA in the um, Middle East, for instance, they definitely know what they're doing. Our partners in China, those people definitely know what they're doing. If you can get like consultants, government consultants to help teach how to make the government this is gonna sound so weird, more efficient, I guess,
Hmm.
right? Yeah, you get people who like have done this thing before. Even the people who are retired in foreign countries to come be like, hey, we know you're enjoying retirement, but we'd like assistance. Can you help us with this thing? Like, grow this specific sector or run this specific agency. I feel like they'd be very inclined to do that. Right? But nah, let's hire former criminals. Yeah,
But
I don't
again,
know.
like if like that's such a practical way of doing it, but then
Mhm.
they don't want the accountability with it because then they're gonna see what's moved here and there and there, and no one's gonna, and the people not gonna have it.
No, they're definitely not. I say this and uh, a lot of our politicians are technically privateers,
Mm,
right? And you can't like it's a conflict of interest. You can't be a privateer who's like looking for money and then also want to help the government. Those two ideas are at odds with one another, right? Um, the whole point of government is to like get money so you can distribute it in ways that make the entire system better. Right?
yeah.
But I feel like I really have no issue. I use my free speech towards this like absolute limit. Yeah. I genuinely think a lot of these people who work in, not a lot, but at least the higher ends, right? People who work in government, they couldn't hack it in private sector. So they were like, let's go to public because public is
Mm.
always guaranteed payment. Right? They couldn't hack it in private because the stress was too much, so they went to public sector. And now we're kind of like bearing the brunt of the consequences for it. Which what can we do? Right?
My thing is
But
that
honestly,
why they should like just follow the US way of like just do insider trading instead of stealing the money. Like if you got
yeah,
information of what's going to happen, to go buy
like
stocks and
you're gonna make more money anyways. You don't need to steal from everyone. Just
exactly, bro.
like uh, it's a joke from there's a joke from like Trevor Noah. Like get a tender for 10 bridges, build nothing. Like get
Yeah,
get a tender for 10, build nine, say you lost the money for one,
exactly.
take and then take that money, invest it in the company that was building the thing. Right?
At least it's
Get
progress.
something. Yeah. Like I don't know. But honestly, that's step one, fire everyone.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I'm too practical like that. You don't want to see me come in if if I run the thing. Fire everyone. I'm like, oh, you didn't meet KPIs for this year, and that year. You're fired. And
crazy, bro.
we're taking your pension as like to compensate for the money that you stole, unfortunately. Right? They don't want to see me coming. But again, yeah,
Yo, have you seen Liam Jacobs move to the PA?
I, I didn't. I've been paying a lot more attention to like international politics, geopolitics,
Yeah, I
right?
mean, he's investing in
I
US
haven't
stocks, so
been
it makes
looking.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to wrap up a bit,
Yeah.
I think what can we expect from you like in the future? What can people be looking for?
Uh, right now, you know what? I'm just gonna keep doing what you're doing. So what you see with me right now is probably what you're going to be getting, but like at a larger scale. The one
Guys,
thing I want to do is like scale myself up some more. Right. My other social media page, the tech one is doing really well, so I'm going to be doing a lot more of that as well. But the finance one also is gonna keep pumping out as much content as I can relative to the subject matter I'm doing. But also just like showing a lot more of my life experience because I try to think like I do a lot of things, but I don't share all of them on social media.
yeah,
Even though I post quite a bit, if people saw more of my life, they'd be like, "Oh my goodness, I'm more inspired." I'm telling you, the only thing I'm really trying to do is like be the version that my past self would have wanted to see, right? So if I can do that for like the past version of me, I can do it for people who are like me right now. So I'm just gonna just keep doing everything a little bit bigger, a little bit better, a little bit more. But yeah, that's basically the goal. More,
yeah,
more, 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 more.
yeah. I think one more question from my end is
Yeah.
um because there's people watching, right, that's maybe starting from scratch, maybe just finishing school, or trying to figure out a lot like
Mm.
how they want to be successful in life. They don't know where to start. If you were to start from scratch, whether that be going to university or not going to university, and the knowledge that you have now, what would you do to maybe grow from nothing to 100K to a mil, whatever? What would be your plan of action or
Um, like one thing, okay, so my general piece of advice, and this works for everyone, especially everyone who I've spoken to, who I've like given advice to, it's always start with social media, right? But the goal, people misconstrue what the goal of social media is. They think it's to get money. No, most people who work in social media don't have any. The goal is to get information. It's to document, reflect, get new information. Like that's what my three pillars of social media are. Start with social media. If you have a like start with a goal and then leverage social media, leverage that goal through social media. So if you want to be a pilot, literally pull out your phone and just be like, hey, I want to be my name is whoever, and I want to be a pilot. I don't usually do social media, but I'm starting and I want to document all this stuff.
Yeah.
Because there was a great quote by, what's his name? Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, right?
Okay.
He says, documenting is easier than creating, which I agree with. Most of the best content creators, they just document their life or what they have or what they do, and
Sure.
they get the best results. And if it wasn't for me documenting, like literally my social media page is just documenting. I literally give
Mm,
I my it's literally like I did this thing, here's what happened. Like, I don't really create any content. Obviously I'm making videos, but I'm not creating anything new. I'm just like I'm documenting what I did. Here's my result. Here's how you can do it as well. And that's by doing that, I've gotten like information from different people and ideas and like thoughts, and sometimes you've been getting paid, which is also quite nice, right? But it's always a thing of like documenting and then getting information so you can, because sometimes you'll find people who have better information than you do.
mm,
They'll tell you, hey, do this thing. I did this thing. I know other people who did this thing. Here's how I got a better result. And by doing that, you move way faster towards your goal as opposed to you making the mistakes that are typically inevitable for you to get your goal. So you'll just get there faster with better info. Information is always king,
mm,
and social media is the best way. Like I've found it to be the best way to get information. The second best way is ChatGPT.
mm.
Like it's like social media, ChatGPT, because social media is just like you post one video, get 10,000 comments, right? Best comment is always ranked, and it will typically be some piece of advice. Follow the piece of advice, get better results, and then ask ChatGPT to like leverage that as well and get better. But yeah, my goal, I'll just simplify it as one phrase. Start with social media, start with a goal, start with a goal, leverage social media, and then just keep getting better.
Yeah. I think that's solid advice, man. I think um a lot of people don't do that. Like they don't want to do that. I think they a lot of people have the mindset of like, let me get my shit in order and then I'll start creating content and stuff. But then you
Yeah,
don't realize that you could leverage that whole thing, the whole process, and then take
yeah.
it to the level. I was stuck yesterday with a decision, a really hard decision for like what I'm gonna do going forward. And like I've been creating content since 2018, like from that time
Mm,
on YouTube. So I've literally documented my life, and then like when I
mm,
moved to Cape Town, I documented why did I move to Cape Town? What is my vision, my goal? And I reflected, and I was
mm.
like, "That was your vision. Here's your next step. Um, like going to take you through that the next vision." And I was like, "Okay, cool." Like adjust to it. And I think, like you said, like when you look back at your content, you reflect and say, "How can like I improve or go towards that goal?" So that's spot on, man. Spot on.
Yeah, man.
Uh,
I try. Yeah,
yeah. So, man, I appreciate you being on the podcast. Thank you for taking time out of your day. I really do
of
appreciate it.
course, man.
I think hopefully when I'm in Joburg or in Cape Town, we should meet up, do something. Um,
Yeah, of course, dude. 100%. Don't even worry about it. I'll pull up. I'll just be like, yeah, you'll pull up, and we'll just like,
for sure.
it's fine.
For sure, bro, for sure.
No
Guys,
worries.
please make sure you follow him on all his social media platforms. I think it's like three different TikTok accounts. I'll link it all in the description.
Yeah,
Make sure you follow his YouTube. He's just posted his China vlog, so watch that. Subscribe. He's almost to 1,000 subscribers, so make sure you subscribe
yeah.
so you can monetize that thing. But
Oh,
yeah.
please. Yeah.
That's the thing, right? So like I realized after growing a multiple TikTok accounts. You're not gonna monetize it. You gotta go to YouTube, man. Like make
Yeah.
sure you push towards YouTube.
YouTube is you again, like I said, YouTube, like this was during the quick fire. YouTube long term, TikTok, but TikTok to start. TikTok is just bigger, but
11.
definitely YouTube long term.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, do the most. Thanks, man.